Have you ever thought that flushing your toilet is a simple, harmless thing? You press the handle, everything goes down, and you move on with your day. Sounds safe, right? But here's the thing. Every time you flush without closing the lid, tiny droplets and microscopic particles, invisible to the naked eye, shoot up into the air. This is what scientists call a toilet plume, and it's way more interesting and gross than you might imagine. Those little particles can travel up to several feet, landing on everything around the toilet: countertops, toothbrushes, towels, even your phone if it's sitting nearby. And while it sounds like an exaggeration, it's not. Researchers have studied this, using fluorescent markers and cameras, and the evidence is clear. Leaving the lid open spreads germs far beyond the bowl. Now, you might be thinking, oh, okay, but my toilet flushes everything away, so it's clean, right? That's the common misconception. The water goes down, yes, but not everything goes with it. Bacteria, viruses, and other microorganisms linger on the surface of the bowl and get caught in the air. Some of these germs are completely harmless, but others can carry illnesses like stomach bugs, respiratory infections, and in rare cases, more serious pathogens. And here's an interesting detail. Not all toilets are equal. The type of flush, the force of the water, and even the angle of the water jets affect how far particles travel. So, two flushes can be very different in terms of contamination. Think about your daily habits. You probably rinse your toothbrush in the sink, grab a towel to dry your hands, or maybe even put your phone down on the counter while washing up. If you leave the lid up, all those little particles from previous flushes are floating around and can settle on these surfaces. This doesn't mean every item in your bathroom is suddenly dangerous, but it does increase the chances of indirect contact with germs. Over time, this adds up. A surface that gets a little splash every day can harbor enough bacteria to make someone sick if they touch it and then touch their face or mouth. Let's get a little scientific, but don't worry, it's not complicated. The bacteria most commonly involved in these splashes are things like E. coli, enterococci, and sometimes staphylococcus. E. coli is mostly known from undercooked food, but it also exists in fecal matter, and tiny amounts can stick around on surfaces. Enterococci are a group of bacteria found in the intestines that can survive on surfaces for days. Staphylococcus lives on the skin and in the nose of most people, but some strains can cause infections. When these microorganisms hitch a ride on airborne droplets from a flush, they can land far from the toilet, even outside the immediate bathroom area in some cases. It sounds alarming, but here's the key. Regular cleaning, simple habits, and closing the lid drastically reduce these risks. And it's not just bacteria. Viruses are sneaky too. Norovirus, for example, is notorious for causing stomach flu outbreaks and can survive on surfaces for long periods. If someone in the house is sick, the risk of contamination through toilet splashes rises. Even common cold viruses have been found in aerosolized particles after flushing. Now, that doesn't mean you should be paranoid or stop using your bathroom, but it's a reminder that tiny habits can make a huge difference in hygiene. So what can we do to protect ourselves? First, always close the lid before flushing. This is a simple habit, but it's one of the most effective ways to prevent germs from spreading. Second, wash your hands thoroughly after using the toilet. It sounds obvious, but proper hand washing at least 20 seconds with soap and water removes most of the bacteria and viruses that could have landed on your hands. Third, regularly disinfect surfaces in your bathroom, especially high-touch areas like faucet handles, light switches, toilet seats, and doorknobs. A mild disinfectant or even a diluted bleach solution works well. Let's talk about toothbrushes, since they are particularly vulnerable. Ideally, keep toothbrushes in a closed container, or at least as far away from the toilet as possible. If you're storing them on the counter, make sure they're not in the direct path of toilet splashes. Some people even cover toothbrushes with a cap, which adds another layer of protection. And for towels and washcloths, it's a good idea to keep them off surfaces that might be exposed to aerosolized droplets, or switch to single-use paper towels when someone is sick in the house. There's also an interesting angle with ventilation. Bathrooms with exhaust fans or open windows help remove airborne particles more quickly, reducing the risk of germs settling on surfaces. Good ventilation is a simple way to enhance hygiene without any extra effort. And while some people rely on antibacterial sprays, it's the combination of habits: closing the lid, washing hands, cleaning surfaces, and ventilating that really makes a difference. Here's a fun fact. Researchers have measured how far droplets travel during flushing and found that they can go up to 3 feet vertically and several feet horizontally. That's almost the size of a small kitchen island or the length of a bathroom counter in many homes. So, imagine all the little invisible droplets spreading around every single time the toilet is used without a lid. It really puts into perspective why a simple action, closing the lid, is such a powerful defense. Now, what about cleaning frequency? Ideally, the toilet should be cleaned at least once a week with the proper disinfectant. The sink, faucet handles, and counters should also be wiped down regularly. And if someone in the household is ill, increase cleaning frequency to prevent cross-contamination. Towels and bath mats can be washed more often. And don't forget to launder any bathroom rugs that might come into contact with splashes. Another aspect that's often overlooked is children and pets. Young children tend to touch everything, put objects in their mouths, and have less consistent hygiene habits. Pets, especially curious cats and dogs, might drink from the toilet bowl or step into splashes, spreading germs around the house. Being mindful of these factors can help reduce the overall microbial load in your home. So, to recap, toilets aren't just porcelain bowls. They're potential sources of bacteria and viruses that can spread in ways we don't see. But the good news is, preventing contamination is incredibly simple. Close the lid, wash hands, clean surfaces, ventilate, and take small precautions with toothbrushes and towels. Doing these things consistently turns a simple, everyday activity into a powerful barrier against germs. By adopting these small habits, you're creating a safer, cleaner environment for yourself and anyone living in your home. It's not about fear, it's about awareness and simple actions. And the best part, you don't need any expensive gadgets or complicated routines. Just a little mindfulness each day keeps your bathroom and your home much safer.